If you had to choose, would you pick Josh or your trust fund?
You wish I loved you that much.
Are you actually coming over here to stay permanently for Josh?
Josh? And that's funny that, like, he would make fun of me for feeling insecure about this. Like, you're joking that I'm insecure about this.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, if you thought that the roller coaster with Josh and Elise ended at the airport in Australia, then you'd be wrong. They're back together and things are as crazy as they've ever been. But not only does Elise have relationship drama with Josh, but she also has cast drama with Emma.
You're pointing a finger at me when I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not taking...
Don't raise your voice.
I'm not taking blame for something I didn't do.
Don't raise your voice at me.
But I didn't do...
Yeah, drama really does follow Elise around everywhere that she goes, doesn't it? So, let's rewind to the start and catch up with them on part 2 of the tell-all, as she gets asked why, after being so unsure about Josh, did she decide to give him another shot?
He stopped partying. We share locations. He's not living with the girl Nat anymore. Every question mark that I had leaving Australia, I now have an answer to.
And what's more, Josh has also got himself another job, one that pays a stable salary rather than commission. Like, both of them, Josh and Elise, are adamant that he has really been trying to turn things around, to change. Like, as I'm sure you recall, at the airport when Elise broke up with Josh, he was quite blasé about it. He didn't really show that much emotion. He said he wouldn't beg anyone to stay with him. But it sounds like after she left, he realised that he loved her enough to fight for her. That's why he's made the changes that she needed to see. And Elise says they both really love each other. Yeah, she's even said it back to him. And they've also spent more time together in person as well.
And then he spent 2.5 weeks in Miami with me.
And how did it go?
Amazing.
Yeah, it went amazing.
We got tattoos of each other's names.
Yep, that's right. They've got each other's names tattooed on their bodies. I mean, no one can convince me that's a good idea. In a relationship this volatile, why? Just why? What could possibly go wrong, hey? Now, for as hard as they're desperately trying to prove to everyone that they're madly in love with each other, right? We've got to remember that this relationship always had more than one partner. There's a third leg to this tripod, isn't there? Like, we can't possibly talk about Joshua and Elise without also mentioning Chris. And as he gets brought up on screen, Sean wants to know Elise's thoughts on whether she thinks the guys are too close.
Was it weird that Chris picked me up at the airport with Josh? Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, when I'm getting by Josh in bed, is your picture above my bed? Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, their relationship is strange. It always has been. But I also can't help but think, in some cases, having Chris there was almost a bit of a buffer for these two. He was almost the safe middle ground for both of them. Like, at times, he seemed a lot closer to Elise than Josh was. Still, it's at this point that talk moves on to one of the biggest issues that they had. Finances. Remember, Josh was living with Nat because he couldn't afford to rent his own place. Elise didn't like that one bit. She was very concerned and very vocal that A, Nat might take advantage of Josh, she might have some element of control over him, and B, that Josh might only be interested in her for her money, or rather her daddy's money. So, what's the situation now? Does Josh financially contribute to this relationship? Well, it seems like he does. In fact, he just bought Elise something big.
Bought you a ticket to Australia?
So he bought me a ticket to Australia.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I am going, like, one way.
Just one way.
Yeah, crazy.
That is crazy. But what exactly does that mean? Well, hold on to that thought. We're going to get to it in a second. But given that the last time Elise was in Australia, it was an absolute disaster. They were fighting almost every day. What exactly makes them think that this time will be any different? Well, for one, Josh will be moving. He'll be relocating away from where they were for filming and moving closer to his son. And that sounds like a good dad decision, right? And also, I'm guessing that might take him away from some of the people that he likes to party with as well. New environment, new social circle perhaps, and clearer, better priorities maybe. So with Elise coming to join him and them both living closer to his son, it seems like they've worked everything out, doesn't it? Well, not exactly. You see, learning all of this comes as a giant surprise to Chris.
Are you actually coming over here to stay permanently for Josh?
Josh?
Are alarm bells going off for anyone else? How does Josh's best friend not know about this? I mean, it is a massive life change. Could it be, perhaps, that Josh might not be fully on board? Now, to be clear, Chris did know that Elise was coming and he did know that she had a one-way ticket, but he thought that she had a one-way ticket because she didn't know when she wanted to return. But he always thought she intended to return. He didn't realise it meant that she was never going back home. So, is that what Josh thought too? Does Josh know that she's moving to Australia to be with him permanently?
Oh, absolutely. Like, that's the plan.
That's awesome. That means I'm going to come up and visit you every 2 weeks. I just need to find a girl to bring, so I'm not third wheeling.
I'll come with you.
Yeah, never one to miss an opportunity. Emma volunteers to be that girl for Chris. I don't even think she's joking. In fact, I don't think either of them are joking. Chris fully intends to go and visit them every other week, and Emma would love to go with Chris if given the opportunity. Now, for what it's worth, I think their relationship, and by that I mean Josh and Chris's, is kind of sweet. This is the best bromance we've seen in a long time. If Elise and Josh have even half of what Josh and Chris have, they'll be just fine, won't they? Chris might have been the third wheel for most of their relationship, but he definitely wasn't the friend who created most of the drama. That prize went to the lady that they now bring up on a video call, Nat.
Your issue was that he lied in the beginning.
About a lot.
Yeah. Nat, do you think that Josh misled Elise in any way?
No.
Oh, please, come on, Nat. Of course he did. He admitted that he told Elise he was living with his parents when he was really living with you. I mean, it's ridiculous to try and act like Josh is some kind of innocent angel in all of this. He did mislead Elise. Now, of course, naturally, talking about Josh's living situation with Nat then leads on to asking Nat and Elise about that very awkward incident where Elise asked everyone at the bar whether they thought that it was a weird situation. And at the time, Nat called Elise a psycho. Does she still stand by that assessment?
The behaviour was erratic, so at the time it was warranted.
I want to know what Josh has to say to that.
Josh, you're pretty quiet.
Yeah, he's probably pretty quiet because he doesn't want to say what Elise wants to hear. Now, when he does eventually go on to speak, Josh, rightly in my opinion, doesn't defend Elise. Her behaviour was pretty difficult to defend that evening. It was pretty crazy and erratic. But Josh goes on to say Elise's behaviour that night wasn't the core issue. The real issue at play was that
You were a bit jealous of our relationship.
I mean, no kidding, Josh. Of course she was jealous. You lied to her about living with another woman. What did you expect her to be? Anyone would have a negative reaction learning those lies. Now, again, the way that Elise dealt with those emotions wasn't okay. But her feelings were warranted. Even Chris says that Elise was justified in how she felt. But after what he's just said, Elise is now angry with Josh.
And that's funny that, like, he would make fun of me for feeling insecure about this. Like, you're joking that I'm insecure about this. And yes, they did have an emotional connection.
This is really hitting a nerve for Elise. Clearly, this is still a problem. And as it turns out, she might have more of a reason to feel insecure than we actually knew. Apparently, Nat was going through a few personal issues during the time that Elise was there. And who was it that Nat would turn to when she needed comforting and support? Josh. Apparently on multiple occasions when she was in Australia, Josh left Elise to go and spend time with Nat to comfort her. No wonder she was worried and suspicious. No wonder she was anxious that something else might be going on. I think most people would have had the same concerns, wouldn't they? Now, it's at this point that Sean takes the conversation back to the financial issues. Tell us about when Josh came to visit you in Miami, she asks. Who paid for everything while he was there? Elise says that she paid for most of it, but Josh doesn't agree. He says that he paid too.
Josh, you paid for my birthday dinner in Key West. That was it.
So I think if you're still doubting me being
Josh, I wasn't doubting you. I was answering a question.
So much for the whole butterflies and rainbows madly deeply in love image that they tried to paint us at the beginning of this tell-all, hey? Now, while talking about finances, one very important issue gets raised. The issue of Elise's trust fund. You see, we're told that her very wealthy dad has set up a trust fund for her and any future descendants of hers, her kids. They'll be able to live off that money, right? So clearly it's a substantial sum. But her dad has made it very clear that money isn't for Josh. Like, he's concerned that maybe Josh has eyes on that prize. So what would happen, Elise gets asked, if your dad were to make you choose between Josh and his money?
If you had to choose, would you pick Josh or your trust fund?
Baby, I love you.
She really didn't want to answer that, did she? And she didn't answer it. And what she did was try to sidestep the question by reaffirming that she loves him. Now, frankly, just to be honest here, you can't blame her for that. Who would give up a trust fund for this relationship? I wouldn't. Judging by her response, Elise wouldn't either. And neither would Chris.
No way. I'd take a trust fund over Josh any day.
Now, Josh doesn't really seem to see the funny side here. He, again, goes on to defend his motives. I'm not interested in Elise for her dad's money or her trust fund, he says. I can go out and make my own money. But it seems like the damage may have already been done. It doesn't seem like what Josh is saying is giving Elise much comfort. You see, as their segment wraps up and everyone takes a break, Elise confesses that this tell-all has left her with a lot of doubts.
I felt like he had Nat's side more than mine. It was like weird. She's calling me psychotic. He's just like, yeah, that was psychotic. I was expecting more, way more.
Josh didn't really take sides. He was just sitting there not saying too much. But at least he didn't run away from conflict like he normally does. I mean, he could have just got up and left. So there is some progress at least, but nothing massive. Like, as always, despite everything they wanted us to believe, these two still have the same problems, as we learn when Elise reveals to Laura and Rick the messages that they've been exchanging since coming off stage a few minutes ago. She angrily messaged him saying she can't believe he didn't stand up for her, and he responded saying,
he was like, you made me feel tiny in front of everyone again.
Tiny?
I'm glad you chose your trust fund over me.
Clearly, their communication is still a mess, and they still have a lot of issues. And actually, on that topic of issues, a blast from the past may be about to cause yet another problem for them. You see, it's at this point, whilst backstage, whilst Elise is in her room, that Emma comes in to speak to her. Remember, Emma had previously told Elise that she had been hooking up with Rob. There's something I'd like to discuss with you, Emma says. There's something I'm not happy with you about.
You know, everything that happened with me and him. But then I found out, like, shortly after I told you, he tried to hook up with him.
I tried to hook up with him.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously? How many times are we going to hear this exact same accusation? And during Hunt for Love, the whole cast were spreading rumours that Elise was hooking up with Rob. Those were rumours Rob incidentally refused to deny, but now it turns out he's been telling Emma that Elise is still trying to hook up with him. Like, Emma says she was told Elise was begging Rob to come back to her hotel room to quote-unquote cuddle with her. Like, is there an element of truth to it? Is it the whole no smoke without fire thing? Because Elise flat out denies it. She says she and Rob saw each other at a recent party and they caught up, but I absolutely never tried to get him back to my room like you're accusing me of, she says.
Okay, that's not true. And that's crazy.
I liked him a year and a half ago.
Like, we had a connection, and that was it.
This is just so annoying.
So don't talk about it anymore.
This is just so annoying.
Bizarrely, Emma is getting really emotional and really angry here. She says that she's developed real feelings for Rob. I mean, there's her mistake right there, catching feelings for a fuckboy. This is Rob we're talking about. But this whole woe is me act, her acting all sad and acting like she has some kind of a claim over Rob. Heck, the fact that she's even approached her with this rumour on TV rather than doing it privately has really frustrated Elise. Like, Emma is here trying to paint her out as the bad guy, and Elise just isn't gonna stand for it.
You're pointing a finger at me when I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not taking.
Don't raise
Girl,
your
I'm not
voice.
taking blame
Don't
for
raise-
something I didn't do.
Don't raise
I
your
didn't
voice.
do.
Don't raise your voice at me.
But I didn't do.
Wow, she just went from 0 to 100 real quick, didn't she? So what is going on here? Is Elise getting a little too angry, perhaps? Is she protesting too much? Or is Rob, for some reason, feeding Emma wrong information? Like, the whole thing raises a lot of eyebrows. There's a lot of unanswered questions here. But, sadly, I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of it. Now, the thing is, of course, this really could cause a lot of problems between Josh and Elise. Like, if Elise is lying, then that means she wanted to cheat on Josh with Rob. But even if she's telling the truth, just the very fact that these rumours are once again circulating might make Josh doubt her sincerity. I mean, for a relationship that's already very rocky, that's the last thing that they need right now. Now, after hearing the shouting and commotion, Aviva steps in to find out what's going on. And after explaining the situation, both women calm down, make up, and apologise to one another for getting angry. Like, it's all over as quickly as it started. But as Elise is getting ready to leave, the more pressing concern for her right now isn't the whole Rob issue, but rather where her relationship with Josh stands right now.
And now leaving here, I'm like, am I going back to Australia, going back into the trap that we were in? Is this like going backwards?
Yeah, it very well could be. Josh and Elise have had a roller coaster ride. I just don't see that changing anytime soon. That is the very fabric, the nature of their relationship, it seems like. Both of them still suck at communicating. They're both dealing with exactly the same problems as before, and they both still doubt each other. Yeah, hate to say it, but I just don't see any world in which those tattoos don't soon turn out to be a huge regret.